from Canterbury Farm, and today I am still processing pears. This is a little messy right now because I'm in the middle of it, and I have a 5-gallon bucket that I've been working on for, this is my third, fourth day of processing. Those aren't consecutive. I have other things I need to do, but I wanted to show you how to use a apple or pear peeler and corer. This is an old design that has been around for centuries. There are no electrical components. This one in particular is from Pampered Chef, and I have had this since I was 22 years old, so now it's about 31 years old. I have bought replacement blades for both parts. This part here is sharp, and this little part, like loop here, is sharp as well. And this goes on with a wing nut, and this other part down here just screws on. This handle part right here, you can get different, this is what determines the thickness of the slices. I have another one that I use that makes thicker slices, but since I'm dehydrating, I want the thinnest slices. When I'm canning, I usually use the thicker one because it just makes bigger chunks. And what I tend to use my pears for is baking. They're not really good for eating fresh off the tree. They're gritty when they're fresh, but I find after I dehydrate them, to me they have the best flavor. Canning them is good, but that's good for like pies and stuff where I'm adding lots of other things. But for just eating by themselves, dehydration to me gives the best flavor. I have several videos on making flavored dehydrated pieces, but what I'm making is just plain dehydrated pieces of pear. When they come out of the dehydrator, they'll have this real white, because I'm not putting anything on them. I am soaking them as they come off of the slicer. I'm putting them in water and lemon juice, and that's just to keep them from browning while I'm in between cutting and putting on the trays for my dehydrator. But that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm going to show you how to use this pear or apple corer and slicer. Like I said, these two areas are the sharp areas, so these are the areas you want to try to avoid touching. Obviously, in my 30 whatever years of canning, I have cut myself on these, and they are nasty cuts because they are sharp. They can cut right through cores, so try to avoid that. You have a handle, crank handle, and you have this spring lever here. To open the area to put the fruit on, you're going to push your spring lever and pull it back. And now you have these prongs. These prongs, I would say about every decade I have to replace them. The last time was about 5 years ago, and I got smart and I bought like 3 of them because I don't think that Pampered Chef is ever going to go out of business. But, you know, each different kind of apparatus has its own, design. So I don't want to be stuck with a very reliable piece of quote-unquote machinery that can't operate just because I can no longer get a part. So I went ahead and bought 3 of them. They weren't expensive. They were like $5. So you're going to put, again, be careful when you're pushing your fruit in. Do not use your hand and push it in. I personally have not done this, but I have read accounts where people pushed the prongs through their hands. And you don't want to do that. That will drastically slow down your canning operation that day. So don't do that. So I always do it from the side, push it on, and you want to make sure you don't just shove it all the way back. Even if you have ones that have a little bit of a soft core or sometimes a little bit of a rotten spot, it will, if it's really bad, the whole thing will just disintegrate and it will not slide. I just use my silicone basting brush, and I have just a butter knife. The more you go, when you're doing high volumes of fruit, it'll gross up, and things will build up, and you just need to clean that out. And you can see it's really gross. So I got a big, super big stainless bowl full of water and lemon juice. I have another bowl where I just put all my cores and stuff. When this fills up, I take it out to the compost heap. It's a nice little break. You need to have a break, especially if you're doing it by yourself. If you sit here for hours and hours and hours, it's not good on your feet, it's not good on your spine, it's not good on your neck, it's not good on you. So make sure you take a little break. For me, I go outside every time this fills up. I get to go outside and be in nature a little bit. I poke around a little bit here and there, drink a Coke, whatever, come back in and get back to business. So I put my pear on the prongs. Now I'm just going to start cranking it, and it's going to get closer to this first blade. This blade is your peeler. This blade is your slicer. You can see that it starts peeling it. And this is the part you need to keep clean, because after a while it'll build up and it'll start skipping. It'll skip on a lot of fruits anyway. It works better on very round apples. And firmer fruit works the best. And it slices it. So then I'm just going to pull my slices off. Now you'll notice my hands are turning black. That is from the lemon juice, the pear sugars touching the metal. It's a chemical reaction. It's harmless. Like I said, it's going in the lemon juice, so most of the time if any of that black gets on your fruit, it's going to soak off if you're that concerned about it. Personally, not concerned about it. I'm going to show you one more time. You don't have to take the stems off. They'll get in here and sort of guide it. If you want to take them off, that's fine. Push it onto the thing. Push your lever to get it moved. And now just start cranking. You want to just rotate your bar. And pull them off. And to get the core off, you're just going to push your spring lever and pull. Sometimes it will eject it, just depending on the pulling there. So that's all there is to it. It's not a complicated process. The first few years you do it, your arm might get tired, but you will eventually build up the resistance to that tiredness, and you'll be able to get a lot more done. It looks really fun. Older children might be interested in doing it. Usually they only last for about 6 pears or apples until it becomes work, and then they'll probably leave your kitchen. So if someone comes in poking around, sure, let them try, and let them do as many as they can until they get tired, and then back to business. If they make an electric one like this, I don't know. I haven't researched it. I haven't looked up. I tend to try to use manual appliances when I can, just because that's who I am and that's how I work. And if the crap hits the fan tomorrow, I can still process my fruit, and I don't have to rely on power of any sort. But it would be nice, probably now that I'm getting older, I might look into see if there's an electric one out there to use, when the crap hasn't hit the fan. This is the core and an apple peeler. Like I said, this one's made from Pampered Chef. Same design concept, whatever brand you decide to buy. Check them out on Amazon. And like I said, if you have the extra money, pick up an extra prong and the extra blade replacement for down here. This one here, the peeler lasts longer than the slicer. Pick up the slicer if they're selling the extra bolts. One note. So it's operated by like a vice sorts of situation, and I have not seen one yet. This one came with rubber feet that are completely useless. What I do is I use a piece of just rubber non-slip shelf liner, and I have a square or a rectangle that I've cut. And the reason is I don't want to put this vice grip down on my laminate countertop because it will crack it. It keeps it from moving. It will wiggle a little bit. It keeps it from, you're not going to ever get a solid unless you built it into a piece of cabinet, which would be awesome, but I don't have that. It keeps it from moving, and it protects your laminate from getting scarred in your counter. But definitely you have to have something. A towel won't work. It will slide all over. And you don't want... Expediency in your work is going to come if your apparatuses, your appliances are secure and worry-free. So use that non-slip silicone shelf liner. Keep it in one place for you so you can work faster. So I hope this helps remove any kind of intimidation out of this like scary medieval torture-looking device. And been around forever. It saves you so much time than to sit there hand peel pears. And I bought this from a cousin because I was hand peeling pears. I had 2 ancient pear trees at the time, my first little rent house, and I was hand peeling buckets and buckets of pears, and my cousin at the time was selling Pampered Chef, and she was like, I got something for you. And sure enough, I bought the core, and it's been a great piece of appliance that I have had now for 3 decades, and it was $30 at the time, and I remember it was a lot of money on a teaching salary to buy something for $30, but now it's come out to $1 a year. Served me very well. So pick up core and peeler if you don't already have one, and don't be intimidated. It's really easy to use, and you'll be glad you did. So this has been Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm, and we'll catch you later. Bye.